5 years after Karl Rove left President Bush's White House following a federal grand jury investigation, the advisor known as Bush's brain is once again a driving force in presidential politics. His group, American Crossroads and Super PAC Crossroads GPS, have already spent $94 million on TV ads this cycle, more than twice that of what the Romney campaign has shelled out. It's the subject of this week's Bloomberg Business Week cover story. Karl Rove, he's back big time. Rove tells assistant managing editor Paul Barrett that his strategy came out of the Democrats' playbook. The left, Rove notes, quote, pioneered the use of 527s and 501c4s years ago, spending millions of dollars to influence public opinion and the policy landscape. Liberals cheered then, but are now quick to try and stop conservatives from using the techniques they used in the past. And Paul Barrett is kind enough to join us now. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Is Rove simply playing the same game the Democrats did in '06, the MoveOn.org, with all that money? But it seems like there's more this time around.
Well, there's definitely more. The order of magnitude has increased, and Rove and his colleagues have benefited tremendously from legal developments in the interim. The Supreme Court's decision in Citizens United has added an accelerant to this fire. But Rove has an essential point correct, which is that this is not something Republicans invented. These peculiar groups, the super PACs, the social welfare organizations as they're euphemistically known, these existed before, and they were fully in use as long ago as 2004. So in a sense, he's playing the same game, but this cycle, the Republicans are playing it more aggressively and more successfully.
I want to put a chart up that Chris Cillizza from the Washington Post had in an article, which is about total ad spending, which is fascinating. If you take campaigns plus outside group, pro-Romney, $179 million, pro-Obama, $128 million. The campaigns alone, Romney spent $35 million, Obama $108 million. Is it fair to say that without these super PACs and without this type of Karl Rove money, that Romney would be being outspent to quite the level?
I think it would. I think by the time we get to the heavy spending season after Labor Day, we would find that things would be pretty much neck and neck if it was just the campaign against the campaign. Where the Republicans have their huge advantage is in the outside spending, both, well, primarily from these individual rich people who are just chipping in extraordinary amounts of money.
I'll open it up to the panel. Rana, are we going to look back on this in maybe 2, 3, 4 years of this election as the super PAC election? That it's changed the game so much that it's allowed a candidate who would have been who would have lost the money wars for months leading up to the election to stay afloat?
I think it will. I think we definitely will look back and see it as one of the issues. But there are so many things in this campaign that are really quite historically unprecedented. One of the things I find, aside from the money question, is the fact that, you know, with the economy this bad, that Romney is actually, you know, not able to capitalize on that more. And I think that that's sort of a fascinating question as well.
Also, here's, I think, the important difference if you actually just compare the Romney campaign to the Obama campaign and you take out the outside spending. Because outside spending is really where it's a millionaire's game. Right. And so the actual difference in the profile of the typical Obama donor and the typical Romney donor makes a big difference. The super PAC outside spending, about 80% of it has come from less than 200 people. Wealthy people who are able to write mega checks. And of course, the Obama campaign is able to really, I think by, I'm not quite sure the statistic at the moment, but by an order of magnitude raise the small dollar donations. So that's where it's really changing the color of sort of who's actually giving money.
But it's not like there aren't rich, wealthy Democrats. And I think one of the issues here is that Karl Rove and his organization and all these other, what not special interests, what are they called? Special education or social welfare groups, is that in the Democratic Party or among Democrats or among progressives, there isn't if they're going to give money to something, it's to a cause. It's to, you know, save the whales, save the polar bears. But Republicans have shown time and time again that they are willing to write, and we're seeing it, millions upon millions of dollars just for the sole purpose of getting rid of, winning.
Well, the purpose also of getting the policy changes as well.
Well, there's I mean, there's an important thing to point out, which is the Republicans this time, 2012, are the challengers. They're the ones going going to their very wealthy constituents and saying, we've got to stop this guy, we've got to kick this guy out of the White House
easier
now.
sell to a degree.
In 2004, when this type of spending really kicked in for the first time, it was the Democrats who were the challengers, and they were quite successful in raising money from people like George Soros and Peter Lewis, the insurance tycoon. When you're trying to raise large amounts of money from individual people and get them revved up, it's really good to be saying stop that guy in his tracks rather than keep things more or less the same.
One thing that I find fascinating is that when you have all this money and the message is being muddled on both sides, is you look at what you have, the dates that are coming ahead. You have August 3rd, you have a July unemployment report. August 12th through 27th, Romney probably announces his running mate. Convention speeches August 3rd for Romney, September 6th for Obama. But here's what I find interesting. The presidential debates, October 3rd, 16th, 22nd, the VP won on the 11th. I've spoken to folks on the Democratic side that say these debates are so important for us because to a degree it's Romney, Obama unplugged. You have them in the ring together, and that's where our guy can do his best. With all the money that's being infused in this race, does it now put a premium in the future that if a candidate who's being outspent has to perform in the debate as the only real place that he can make a real inroad to a degree?
I would agree with that, and I would also say that if anyone who thinks that President Obama will not meet an equal in Mitt Romney when it comes time to debate, they're fooling themselves. Mitt Romney is going to be someone who will be a formidable challenger in the debates against the president. And so, yes, it'll be terrific when you have the two of them there standing and facing each other, and you can look and say, do I want to see either this guy for another 4 years or this guy for 4 years? But also, as we were talking about in the last segment, that is the opportunity for Mitt Romney to actually talk specifics about what he's going to do on a whole host of issues.
But I think you're right, and I think the fact that it's going to be about authenticity. You know, I like the term unplugged because it's about who are these people, and I think in that debate, Obama is really going to take the cake. Yeah,
that's going to be fascinating. Unplugged. No money, just roll up the sleeves and debate it out. Paul Barrick, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Coming up, dysfunction junction. Congress renews the fight over tax cuts. We'll break down the latest 250K bet next on Now.